Hello, my fellow raiders. It is a sad day. It is a day to mourn. Why? Because we've lost our nearest and dearest friend. The ever-reliable security breach. Security lockers have died. Okay, it's not actually that doom and gloomy, but there has been a nerf to security lockers and the loot they contain. And you might be a little bit confused to hear that, because it's not actually in the official patch note. If you go down them on the Steam page for them, nowhere does it mention security lockers, security breach, nothing at all, zip nada. So when people started opening lockers like usual to find kind of nothing in them, or at least not what they were wanting, it raised some question. It is, however, on the official Ark Raiders website patch notes, and indeed Embark themselves have commented on it. We adjusted the security lockers because they were over-providing valuable items. So they have indeed been tuned. And we've since got even more info, and that's that the devs confirmed that yes, the changes to security lockers didn't make it onto some of the patch notes, and while this change affects a lot of us who rushed for it, changed priority, spent a lot of points, they are considering, and this is absolutely huge, a skill tree reset mechanic as compensation, or indeed just in general. They say balancing is important for us, and both overperforming and underperforming skills will be adjusted. This is really good news on multiple fronts, and I really hope that skill reset does come in, but not in a way that kind of undermines or undervalues fully sending an expedition and resetting your raider. The question is, how tuned? How actually dead or not is this point? Have we all wasted our time rushing to it after learning how ridiculously over the top busted it was? And that's something to address immediately. It was ridiculous. Being able to use security lockers to have an inventory just full of purple guns on backup on backup on backup was a little bit kind of silly, and it made everyone that didn't have the point feel, well, like they've just wasted their time investing in the other two trees and not rushing straight for this. It was definitely warping, and it made this the best skill point in the game, and you were kind of throwing if you didn't have it and didn't go on security locker runs. So it did kind of need putting in line, but I would much rather have seen the other end nodes buffed, as none of them come even close to this. So I've been out, I've done some testing, I have looted a bunch of security lockers both in the day and at night, and I'm here to tell you that, one, security lockers are much, much, much worse than they were before this update. However, they're still, honestly, the best final node on the entire skill tree, and still very much worth your time investing in, so don't feel like you've wasted points. So, the data then. Here is a run from Spaceport during the day where I successfully hit 5 security lockers. I went in completely naked, no gear at all except some adrenaline stims, so I should get to them all faster. I wanted to keep it just a pure test without my own equipment muddying it. And as you'll see as I start going round them all, well, it's not exactly setting the world on fire. The big thing to take away is that actual weapon frequency in them is way down, to the point where I have opened about 30 lockers since the patch and not got a single purple gun. And that's a story I'm seeing everywhere. Purple weapons are either just gone from them or an actual proper rare find. So they're just simply not the monster weapon farm they once were. Even blue weapons seem way down, and by far the most frequency is green and white weapons. So in terms of a weapon farm, a source of good weapons, yeah, security lockers are just dead. It's just not a thing anymore. However, that doesn't mean they don't have value. So as you'll notice, there are 3 main categories of things that are coming in these lockers. You've got weapon parts, i.e. things to make mods with, and then the actual gun parts themselves, which is really useful to have a good supply of them because, you know, you don't exactly get showered in them, you're limited how many you can buy per day, and they don't show up all the time in containers, especially complex gun parts too. And then you've got just random bits and bobs to salvage down, like broken tasers, etc., which is just pure value, nothing crazy, but hey, a few salvageables. And then, lastly, ordnance, grenades, your smoke bombs, your wolf packs, your snap blasts. They're a great source of grenades. I guess, you know, the bonus fourth is ammo. But your three main categories that you're looting security lockers for now that remain incredibly valuable are weapon parts, random salvageables, and then grenades. The weapon parts and grenades being the two stars of the show, and then occasionally you'll get a bonus gun, but it won't likely be anything special. So it's still really good. It's a good point to have, and if you're passing a security locker, it's worth going into. But I think it's definitely lost its status as get to the point, do dedicated back-to-back security locker runs and then extract, and fill up with ridiculous gear. And that, as sad as it is, does make sense for the game's long-term health. So here you are then, is the final loot screen after 5 security lockers on a spaceport run. And as you can see, yeah, it's just fine, right? It's solid, it's nothing crazy, a shadow of its former self, but you definitely take the complex parts, you take the gun parts, the grenade collection's not bad, an arpeggio is whatever. It's just kind of good, right? And that's what you want from these entry nodes. You just want them to be solidly good, not warping the entire game around them so everyone without it is just disadvantaged compared to everyone with it. I then repeated the experiment, but on a major condition, this time at night, as obviously that does affect loot, though I definitely think it affects loot quantity much more than quality, but in any case, this was the haul from that. A very similar story. Weapon parts and some random salvageables, and then a few little bits like sensors, which are definitely nice, but then the grenade side of things, very, very good, with 2 trigger nades and a wolf pack. That's good to see, and even some more complex gun parts too, and hey, a whole Pharaoh! Whoa! So, yeah, that's the data for you, that's what's happened, and the new current state of security breach and the security lockers it lets you open. Solid little loot packages for specific categories, but no longer the monster purple gun farm that everyone was using it for, and now they're just going to be more little bonuses as you go through the map over kind of dedicated death hotspots that people are just chain running. And while I think that is kind of a sting for right now for the overall health of the game going forward, it was a needed change, and it's better to rip the band-aid off sooner rather than later, especially before Stellamontis, which might well be just covered in security lockers. In any case, let me know what your own findings and thoughts are, but for now, like you've enjoyed this, subscribe and hit the bell for more, consider supporting the future of the channel on Patreon down below, and until we meet again, a goodbye.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.